Hi guys, Shannon Dow here with Healthcare Genius, and today I wanted to talk to you about what insurance means to a millennial. So when I started in this business, there were all these different things that I was learning about, and the more I learned, the more I realized that I'm not necessarily, nor are most of my friends that are my age, protected in the ways that we should be. Two things became really clear to me. One, if something should happen to me and I couldn't work, I had no backup plan. Aside from what I had in my savings, there really wasn't a lot that was protecting me from making up that income if I got in an accident, if I got really sick, if something happened. And so the first thing I want to talk to you about is why disability insurance or income replacement is so important for millennials to have. Now, a lot of us at this age are still in the beginning of our careers, or the beginning kind of portions of our careers in our 20s and 30s. We don't have our ideal amount of money that we want to have for our futures in savings yet. And so we're still working towards financial goals, and we're doing whatever we can to get there, but we don't always think about what if something bad happens, because you think if you're young and you're healthy, that nothing bad will happen to you. A question I have for you that I had to answer for myself is, what would I do if I all of a sudden could not make money? So that's where disability insurance comes in. For someone like myself who is self-employed, an individual disability insurance policy, both short-term policy and a long-term policy, were things that I decided I needed to look at. After weighing my options, I decided on both of those things. Now, short-term has a waiting period. So let's say I was in an accident and I couldn't sit up straight and I couldn't do my job for 3 months. There might be a waiting period, so the first week or 2 weeks I don't get paid, but after that, up until a certain amount, which is generally about 90 days, I can start to get paid from that policy. And now long term is if something maybe a little bit more serious happens and I can't work for 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, and a long-term disability policy won't kick in until a certain point, but then it covers you for a very long period of time, or has the ability to. For a lot of us, if you work for a large company, what they can do is offer you short-term and long-term disability that's provided by the company. Now, these are wonderful for employees, but there is one thing that I want you to think about, and that's that employers don't have the ability to insure your entire income. My husband and I sat down and we looked at the policy he had through his employer, and it only covered 60% of his income should something happen to him. So we had to make the decision, is that enough? We decided that it wasn't, so we actually bought an additional individual disability policy that kind of filled in that hole. So now we know if something happens to either one of us, we're covered. So the second thing that I want to talk to you about is term insurance with living benefits. Now, whether you are single, whether you're married, whether you have dependents or not, you may wonder, should I get life insurance? And there are a lot of different factors here, but one thing that every millennial should consider is term life insurance with living benefits. Now, what that means is that you can buy a life insurance policy. The great thing about term life insurance is that it's really affordable, particularly if you're young. And if you buy a policy with living benefits, you not only have the ability to get paid, or your beneficiaries get paid after you pass away, but if something should happen to you, like you get cancer, or you get in a really serious accident, or you need long-term care of some kind, you can actually get paid from that policy without having an accident plan or a long-term care insurance plan. And so how that works is, let's say I had a policy that had $1 million death benefit. In most cases, these policies, term insurance with living benefits, will pay up to 90% of the death benefit if something happens to you. So let's say I got cancer and it was unexpected. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. If I had this policy, I could actually take the death benefit from my life insurance policy and pay for anything that I needed that's related to my illness. I could get some kind of experimental treatment. One thing we've mentioned in another one of our videos is fertility. For example, if you need to freeze your eggs, you can do that with this money that you could get from this policy. You can see any doctor you want. You can try different things and have more options than what your standard health insurance covers. Most people have health insurance. It's a requirement now, but the unfortunate fact is that it's not always enough, particularly in some life or death, very serious situations. You want to be able to have options, and you want the last thing on your mind to be, how am I going to pay for this? So for me and my family, my husband and I thought this policy was really important for each of us to have. So now we know if something should happen, we can replace our income, so we don't have to worry about how we're going to pay our mortgage. And then we have the flexibility to pay for treatment in whatever way we want. And once the money issue is off the table, it relieves some of the stress and some of these awful events. The great thing is it's really not that expensive. So if you want to learn more about what you need and need some help making decisions on what policies you should buy, feel free to become a client of mine and Michael's. Go ahead and check out our description. There's a link where you can apply to become our client, and definitely watch more of our videos. Subscribe to our channel for the best information on healthcare, and don't forget to click the bell to be notified when we come out with new content.